Okay. The reason my contact details are up is because I don't want to slow you down in the rush to get a drink. I won't be around at the end for Q&A. Just anything you want to ask me, just contact me straight after, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I was asked to do this a few months ago, and so I took as the lead, like you do if you're writing an Edinburgh show. You come up with a title, right? And then with about 48 hours to go, you write the show, okay? So the pressure of time. This is an advert we ran in Marketing Week for a role we're looking for. We're starting a team up in Birmingham of Digital First, an editorial team. And it just kind of crystallized, I think, where we are right now in terms of thinking outside of what we do. I'm going to touch a little bit on what we've done in order to get to where I think we are now and what we're going to be doing soon. So this drives a lot of my thinking about digital first media. How do you beat a cow photobombing a horse stuck in a fence? Because this is the world I'm in, and I do have to beat a cow photobombing a horse stuck in a fence. I didn't used to have to do this. My background is in music production, then radio, then TV. In 1995, I produced the Christmas #2 hit single, Wonderwall by the Mike Flowers Pops, which was kept off the #1 by Michael Jackson's Earth Song. To this day, I still bear a grudge. Thriller I would have understand, but Earth Song, it's still great. I only talk about that because it's all about the talent, right? The journey, the work that we do, it's about the stories you tell and the talent you work with. I work with those guys. I'd argue they're probably the most talented people I've ever worked with. And the digital bit for me, when we started thinking about how we could distribute some of the content that we were making on radio. In 2007, we began a podcast where we just linked up 2 shows on Radio 4 on Friday nights. It's now, I think, the BBC's most successful podcast, over 1 million subscribers, and that kind of got me thinking about, well, what should we be doing next? iPlayer launches. Very soon, you start realizing there's a theme around some of the most popular content. You realize that comedy and entertainment really do punch through in the VOD space, like many other genres do not. That then let me pitch for the chance to build a comedy website, which, when you work inside the BBC, nothing happens quickly, right? It took 2 years in terms of build, in terms of getting it out there, creating the content for it. It was a thing of beauty when it launched, but, all right, we did use this site to develop some talent, and we had quite a strong track record in developing talent. But we were thinking about it in a way that broadcasters do. They think about it as how they develop for their platforms. So let me play you something that shows what we were doing, and I think why we're doing it. This is a trail for a web series we released in, blimey, 2008, 2009? Oh, I've done that wrong. Let's try again.
I have it on very good authority that none of the members of Take That can read or write. I mean, can you imagine N-Dubs doing a crossword or Lethal Bizzle working at Compass? It's sad, but many young bands come to record here and they have no idea how to use stationery properly.
Let's just put out a greatest hits.
We did that last year, didn't we?
Yeah, except you insisted on no hits on.
I've wanted to work with animals in this way for years. I get the chance to actually play live underwater to different types of fish.
Zogo was my lover when I was 15.
She's joking.
I'm joking, I was 14.
What are you doing? It's not a game. Go and get a bath.
So Sting, take that.
Out! Out! What are you doing filming this peasant? Get out! I would like to smash your face!
It's an audience with John Barron. I've got a scene plan. You can either go between Anne Widdecombe and Steve Cram or Todd Carty and Ross Kemp.
I'm not sitting next to that big gorilla.
Right, put you next to Ross Kemp.
How decadent can you get a trail for a web series? No one came to the trail, no one came to the web series, no one watched it on YouTube, all right? 4 years later, that's a 6-part series on BBC Two. And that was what we were doing. It was kind of looking at how do we develop IP on our own website in order to grow it into something else. We were having some success. Then, as I said, what the BBC does in this space very often is strategy changes. So we pulled out quite a lot of money out of what we do online as an organisation. We centralised everything for very good reasons at the time, and we moved it into iPlayer. So iPlayer became the experience for what we do with video in fiction and entertainment online. We started making pilots for BBC Three in iPlayer. So digital first, iPlayer only exclusives, in order to solve a supply problem for BBC Three. BBC Three wasn't getting a good enough stream of narrative comedy on TV, so we started doing stuff online for them. And then the decision was made to move BBC Three online. So where that leaves us now is a very exciting place. And we don't know yet what BBC Three will become in terms of new content forms. But there's going to be a fantastic amount of opportunity. And very soon we'll know a lot more about that. So that's kind of what happens when you set your own strategy in terms of what you want to do. But as we know, and a very bright man who's the head of future media at the BBC said this, right? And we don't own innovation online. That's happening. The audience are doing it all the time. So case in point, I worked quite closely with BBC Wide and Google in terms of creating plans for a network of partnership channels that we were pitching with them. And last year, I had to come up with an event for senior BBC management, and a lot of people who don't work within the world of online video. So we were asked to create a video about the world of short-form video. So this is how I explain the world of short-form video to senior management in television. This is a vlogger called Brett Domine.
Come on, get shorty. It's short form video, a world that just grows and grows. Come on, get shorty. It's short form, how the future is now. Yeah, the web's taking over, it's a whole new different era. Content's getting shorter, the time is getting nearer. When we'll all watch telly telepathically, and all it's going to be is like abstract emotions projected cerebrally. It's probably going to happen, I don't know how, but for the time being, let's just focus on what's happening now. Yeah, so let's talk about YouTube, the huge online phenomenon. They're getting so many views now, everybody's wanting them. 6 billion hours of video watched every month, thousands of hours uploaded before you've even had your lunch. In fact, in just 9 days, more videos uploaded digitally to YouTube than the BBC's entire TV history. It's short form video, everybody's doing it, from big name YouTube bloggers to cats playing music. There's people like Tyrannosaurus Rex, Jack and Finn Harris, who just talk to a camera and have millions of subscribers. This guy just eats weird stuff and people bloody love it. And this girl looks at famous people's makeup and shows you how they've done it. There's music videos, professional and amateur, some of stunning ingenuity and some of very low calibre, like this painstaking effort from the band OK Go compared to the lacklustre chroma key monstrosity from this bloke. It's also the perfect format for comedy, from short sketches and songs, mini sitcoms and parodies. In fact, as an example, before the hit BBC One show, Citizen Khan began as a series of short online videos. Yeah, even the BBC are getting involved in it too, with short form episodes of Sherlock and Doctor Who. I guess people just like watching shorter videos. They can watch them on their laptops, tablets, smartphones. There's even those apps that everybody now seems to be getting, where you can upload and watch videos that are just a few seconds. What's the point in that? Just 6 seconds of data. But some people use Vine to be incredibly creative, like the guy who throws a shirt and turns it into his brother, or the guy who made himself a kind of low-budget Harry Potter. It's no wonder big brands have started getting on board, with so many people on their mobile phones watching short form, like Starbucks' Instagram photo video loops, and Hellman's working with Jamie Oliver's channel on YouTube. It's the way of the future. We're all digital consumers. Our relationship with video is changing more and more. Come on, get shorty. It's the name of this presentation from the British Broadcasting Corporation. Come on, get shorty. Short form, how the future is now. It's confusing but exciting, a whole new different era. I hope that now you've heard this, it's all a little clearer, 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 clearer. Short form video, that's about it.
when I made that, I was an exec producer in the comedy department. I'm now the creative director for digital in telly. So, you know, it had some effect. So what happens when you no longer make your own strategy and you're looking at what's happening around you? There's two things in the world of short-form video that were apparent to us all, which is more and more content is being consumed in this space all the time, all right? That was the most compelling stat in the whole video as far as I could see. The perfect storm is the opportunity to consume is growing all the time. So within a certain demographic, that's extraordinary. Now, when you realize a certain demographic, a key part of your audience, are now driven by what they can do on their mobile screens, you start thinking very hard about how that affects what you're making. This is a slide taken from a mate of mine who runs YouTube for Radio 1, who promised he wouldn't take slides at this event he was at. This is YouTube's own, data. I have a tendency to believe it's probably true. But that's the world we're now in terms of content, audiences, and Radio 1 have taken this and run with it. They're the most watched radio station in the world now. That's not really an oxymoron when you think about what their audience is doing. They have grown themselves to own 1 million subscribers on YouTube in a very short space of time, and they move into iPlayer later this year. They're not the only people at the BBC starting to realise how audience behaviour is changing what they're doing. All right? I don't know how many of you have seen BBC Trending. It's a new news service, BBC News Run, where they track trends and then try and explain them. I think it's a really good explanation of what kind of role you might expect the BBC to play in this space. I'm just going to show you something, a video they make. They're a very, very small team. All right? Shall I blow that up? Do you want to see it? Okay, just very quick. Okay. I won't show it all. They track trends, and then they explain them in video. It's global. It's got about, I think, the blog gets about 4 million reach.
There has been Israeli area attacks on Gaza, particularly soon after the bodies of the 3 teenagers were found. There has been casualties as a result of those Gaza area attacks. The hashtag has been popular with people around the world for trying to get news and photos and what's happening on the ground.
I did find out recently that one of those images are from Syria, and I
do you want to keep watching it?
My post that has
okay.
Image in it. It's disappointing that images get shared quite quickly. I guess that's the difference between the internet and credible newspaper publication, where pictures are from a source and they're credited.
I tweeted it just for my family and friends to see it. I didn't really expect to get over 1,800 retweets. I didn't actually know that the picture was recycled. I guess I just use it as an illustration. You know, people don't need to take it as a literal account, because if you think of bombs going off, that's pretty much what it looks like.
The misuse of pictures on social media is not particularly unique to this particular hashtag. We've seen this before in Syria, in Iraq, and you've got to keep an eye on who you're following, where did this picture come from.
I don't work with these guys, but I hope to. I think this is an example of what you'd expect the BBC to be doing in this space. If you're not following them, please do. They're not very big in relation to some of the other BBC Twitter accounts. So we are working in the space in terms of doing new things. But it's important to have a sense of perspective here. I saw a really interesting tweet yesterday with a link attached to it, talking about old media companies and calling them gambling on resurrection. The idea of investing in new technology, because if you see a lot of old media companies investing into new technology, sometimes that's a sign that they're not doing particularly well. And it's important when we think about what the BBC is doing in this space that traditional television viewing stats are not declining, they're growing. Radio reach is not declining, it's growing, all right? What we're seeing is opportunity to reach audiences in lots of different ways. But I don't see the BBC investing huge amounts of money into digital-first content. We need to be in this space, but you can't, you have to look at where your audiences are and try and reach your audiences in the most effective way you can. That's why we do need to be doing new things. The DG, the Director General, sorry, was in California last year. Came back and we're delivering on an innovation strategy that he and a few other people have outlined. One of the things we're working on right now is a BBC Lab, a BBC audience-facing platform for innovation, which we will be able to say a lot more about very soon. And we're going to be trying a lot of new things out. One of the things we're working on right now is interactive video formats. So it's really interesting to hear what people are up to across the globe and some of the amazing work people like the National Film Board of Canada are doing and people in this room are doing. But one of the things we have to work out is what's scalable, because we've done these projects, we did them for TV shows, and the challenge is each time you have to start from scratch, you have to build a new site. And I think we need to be thinking about what's repurposable technology. What can you get that you can then apply to different genres across the business? So Touchcast is an interactive video application that we've been playing with. There's a new Horizon documentary tomorrow night on cats. It'll do really well. This is a, hey, everyone loves cats. This is Touchcast. It's the web in video and video in web. Anyway, it's difficult to explain, but you just touch, and it's brilliant on mobile and tablet devices. And that's one of the things we're really trying to address is, in a mobile-first world, what kind of unique video formats really, really suit? So this is a POV from a cat's point of view. So when you touch it, it minimises. Lots of different information can be surfaced. BBC News are doing a lot of interesting stuff with this at the moment. We've just started dabbling. We have a team in TV who are playing with this. It's live on the news website, so go and have a play. Let me see if I can get out of it. Oh, hello. That's still playing. Okay. We're also playing with another interactive video service called Interlude, which I think is, when you work in TV, one of the best expressions of interactive video that I've seen. This is a chef we found on Jamie Oliver's YouTube channel, and we asked him to work with us on a demo of what would you do in a world where, if you're familiar with YouTube formats, you have to tell us how long you've got, and we'll tell you what we can cook you.
What that means is I can cook. I got knives, I got pans.
Who hates intros? Let's skip them.
So the first thing
right.
I need to know is how long we've got to cook this thing. When's your date arriving? 5 minutes? 1 hour?
Put your hands up. 5 minutes, an hour.
Just let me know by clicking on the screen.
An hour.
Right, so we've got an hour.
You can see where it's going, all right?
I hope you're washed and dressed, because otherwise we're going to struggle for time.
Right, so we're trialling what you can do with lots of different interactive video formats. We're also working in the world of social media. This is something that, if I'm right, Brian Cox has just tweeted this in the last hour or so. He's got 1.4 million followers. His show starts tonight. We need to get content around his show into lots of different platforms. So we're working very hard on what we should be doing in the social space, and we're talking to people like Twitter and Facebook and working with them on all kinds of interesting things. So where next for the BBC? That was a phrase Tony Hall said last year. The answer to where next is Digbeth in Birmingham. The reason is we're opening a skunk works there, or for a while it was called the Guerrilla Group, which is we're setting up our own editorial kind of digital agency there, people that can focus on prototyping digital first media forms for us. This is the template I'm asking them to work to. And we're going to be getting them into organisations like Radio 1. So we're looking very hard right now at what can we do with user-generated content and the Radio 1 audience. What could we do with the Natural History Unit and wearable technology? And we're working very hard with our partners in BBC Future Media, the people who build platforms like iPlayer, who have great innovation platforms like the Connected Studio. Check it out if you haven't heard about it. We're prototyping experiences around NHU landmarks like One Planet. What would that be on an iPad if it was an iPad-only experience, not just a linear video experience? And then the team themselves in Birmingham will be thinking about 3 guiding questions when they're asked to do their own work, not work with brands and channels. Those are the questions they need to think about, and the reason they need to think about them is because of pictures like that. All right. I'm showing my background. That's me. Honestly, I'm in awe of some of the things I've seen today and some of the people who've spoken. But if you do want to know any more, or you want to ask me any questions, please just drop me an email or talk to me on Twitter. Thank you so much for your time. I have to go show my son a secondary school, so I've got to dash.